Today, we're going to be doing a deep dive into the Arizona Cardinals 2025 rookie class. Which rookie will have the biggest impact for the Arizona Cardinals defense? I'll provide you my top 4 candidates that will have the biggest impact and who has a realistic chance of starting for the Arizona Cardinals defense. What's going on? Welcome back into another video. Definitely do me a huge favor, smack up that like button, subscribe for more Arizona Cardinals content. On this channel, we're covering the Arizona Cardinals news, breaking news, conversational pieces, everything surrounding your favorite team. So subscribe it up. It's absolutely for free. And if we do hit 18K by the time July is over, we'll probably be giving a jersey away, maybe a Trey McBride jersey. So make sure you go ahead and subscribe it up. It's absolutely for free. Hit that red button and make sure you have your post notification bell as well, just so you're aware when we drop the next video and when we go live. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's go and get started here. Let's talk about the Arizona Cardinals 2025 rookie class. And I think one of the biggest things to note when you're looking at the 2025 rookie class, or just this offseason in general, is that the Arizona Cardinals went so defensive heavy. Like 6 out of the 7 picks were straight up defense. Walter Nolen, Will Johnson, Jordan Birch, Cody Simon, Denzel Burke, and then Kitan Crawford as well. The only offensive side of the ball that we ended up going after was Hayden Connor, which mainly plays guard. Now, this kind of goes to show that this rookie class, as well as the free agents that we ended up bringing in, they went so defensive heavy. I do believe that the Arizona Cardinals really looked deep down in terms of what was the biggest weakest point, and they went ahead and went full-blown attack with bringing in Delvin Tomlinson, Calais Campbell, Josh Sweat. They absolutely upgraded the defensive side of the ball, and they're really looking forward to attacking the opposing quarterback and applying the pressure that we didn't have in 2024. So today, we're going to be diving into my top 4, rookies that I feel like is going to have the biggest impact. Now, they are going to be in list of priority in terms of order goes, because like you got to call it like it is, ladies and gentlemen. Right now, this regime for the Arizona Cardinals, this is probably the first time in a very long time that we're actually allowing rookies to come into their own. Too many times within the last regime that we drafted guys that really weren't a big impactful player in their first year, in their second year, or heck, maybe even in their third year. There's been multiple times in the past regime that we just did not allow rookies to develop the way that they should develop, right? Even my most favorite coach as an Arizona Cardinal fan with Bruce Arians, he really didn't favor or value rookies very much, where this regime with Monty Ossenfort and Jonathan Gannon, they truly believe in the long term and being able to draft your team of the future. And honestly, if you're trying to build a longevity, right? A organization that's going to have success for the long term, you got to build within the draft, right? Free agency is good. It's splashy. You bring in some guys that are plug and play players, but that's not going to be how you sustain a long term winning culture and a winning organization. So I do believe that Monty Ossenfort and Jonathan Gannon really do have this right in terms of their makeup of how they're trying to build this team out for the future. So we're going to be diving into these rookies that I feel like is going to have the biggest impact heading into year one. And it might shock you in terms of where our first round pick is actually slated at. But let me go ahead and give you my reasons as to why I chose what I chose, right? So let's dive right into it, ladies and gentlemen. Let's talk about the rookies that are going to have the biggest impact. Now, yes, they are listed 1 through 4, and I will explain as to why I feel like my number 1 is going to be, I guess, the biggest impact. Let's dive right into it, right? We're going to go ahead and start off with cornerback Will Johnson. I don't think it's really a shock or a surprise as to why I feel like he's going to have the biggest impact for the Cardinals. I think we're really going to have a number 1 corner here for the Cardinals with the second round pick. Now, this was probably the most hyped I've been in terms of a draft pick that we've had in a very long time. Walter Nolen, when we first originally drafted him, I was looking more for an edge rusher. I'm going to be real here. But once I got to kind of do a little bit more research and kind of looked at the film, I do see that Walter Nolen can be a real good piece. Now, obviously, will it translate from the collegiate level to the NFL level? That's what we're going to have to kind of wait and see how it all shakes out. But I feel like Will Johnson being chosen in the second round and falling to the Cardinals' lap, he really has an opportunity to be number 1 corner from the jump. Now, if you guys do not know, or if you don't remember, Sean Murphy-Bunting is out for the season, which was slated to be our veteran presence back there. And I know there's some people out there that didn't even want Sean Murphy-Bunting to come into 2025, but being the fact that he had the knee injury, he's done for the season, right? So he's not going to be with the Arizona Cardinals. So that kind of gives a lot of these young cornerbacks the opportunity to come up and really kind of show their talents. The only really shoe-in I can see right now that's going to have a number one spot or a starting role within this cornerback role is probably going to be Garrett Williams, right? That's really the only guy I have the utmost confidence. Now, I do have confidence that Max Melton's going to be obviously going into his year two and hopefully developing, to be that guy that we drafted in the second round. You also got Sterling Thomas the fifth, which I'm really, really high on as well. But Will Johnson really has an opportunity to come into year one and really find his role within this Arizona Cardinal defense. I know he mainly flourishes in zone, but let's see what happens in the next level, right? There's going to be a big adjustment. Will Johnson might get burned a few times, but the best way you can actually learn to be that guy is to actually go through the bumps and bruises. And even one of the great cornerbacks the Arizona Cardinals ended up drafting in the early 2010s, and Patrick Peterson, he struggled in the cornerback position in his rookie year. Of course, he did really special things in special teams, but he struggled until he came into his zone. So Will Johnson, I think he's going to have one of the biggest impacts for the Arizona Cardinals straight up in year one. I don't think it's really a debate here. Cornerbacks, although I'm very excited and I think there's a lot of potential and a lot of promise within this young group, Will Johnson has the opportunity to really come into his own and show out what he can do, right? I'm excited to see what he's going to do in year one. Let's move on over to my next player. That's going to be none other than linebacker Cody Simon out of Ohio State. Now, the joke has been floated around about the Arizona Buckeyes, right? Or the Ohio State Cardinals, right? Because the Cardinals really do love the idea that bringing in players from that winning organization can hopefully translate into the pro level, right? And honestly, what I've seen from Cody Simon, I do think he could have a real potential opportunity to maybe make a bigger impact than most people think. Now, one of the worrisomeness that comes along with going into 2025 is the unknown when it comes down to that linebacking core, primarily the middle linebackers, right? Your Mike linebacker as well as your Will linebacker. Now, with Kaiser White leaving and most likely not coming back to the Arizona Cardinals, you're left with Mack Wilson Sr., which I'm honestly a really big fan of. I love Mack Wilson Sr., especially going into his year two with the Cardinals. But there's this big unknown when it comes down to Akeem Davis-Gaither. Now, can he come into his own and really prove that he's that guy? I mean, some might say within the Cincinnati Bengals organization, maybe he really didn't get that fair crack, right? Maybe he didn't get that fair opportunity to really show that he's that guy in the middle of their defense. Well, the Arizona Cardinals are definitely going to give him the opportunity to come out and show out. Now, right now, he's 27 years old. Last year, I think he had one forced fumble and one INT. Now, the numbers don't kind of scream out to you that this is a great pickup for the Cardinals, but like I said, right, it's all based off opportunity. He's going to get an opportunity to most likely start for the Cardinals. Now, the only way I see Cody Simon beating out Akeem Davis-Gaither is that if he has a crazy, training camp, if he has a crazy preseason, that's really the only way I can see him starting over Akeem Davis-Gaither. But you never know. Maybe midway through the season, maybe towards the end of the season, maybe we will start seeing kind of like a split share type of thing. I don't think the Cardinals will do it unless there's a injury that happens. But I do believe that if Cody Simon shows out, he can have a big impactful year for the Arizona Cardinals. I put him as my number 2 guy because of a lot of unknown when it comes down to that middle linebacking position, right? So I got Cody Simon as my number 2 rookie that's going to have the biggest impact because I do somehow believe that he's going to find his way in terms of getting more reps. That's just, I guess, my personal opinion. After Akeem Davis-Gaither and Mack Wilson Sr., you got guys like J.J. Russell, you got Owen Papu, and you also do got Michael Walker, which is another acquisition the Arizona Cardinals ended up signing on a 1-year deal. So a lot of unknown when it comes down to that middle linebacking core. So here's an opportunity, man. Here's an opportunity for Cody Simon to come in here and really show out. And he was a 4th round pick for the Cardinals, I believe is what it was. Yeah, 4th round pick. He was the 115th overall pick in the 2025 NFL draft out of Ohio State. We know Monty Ossenfort really likes those Ohio State guys. So I got him as my number 2. And then number 3 is our first round pick in Walter Nolen. And here's the thing, it's not because I don't believe in Walter Nolen, it's because how stacked up our defensive line is. Like, with what we did this offseason, we completely 180 this defensive line. We went from one of the worst in terms of pressure to probably one of the most intriguing, and we've added a lot of great pieces with Josh Sweat, Dalvin Tomlinson, Calais Campbell, and Justin Jones, and Bilal Nichols were some guys that we ended up bringing in the year prior. I believe it was in 2024. We ended up signing those guys in free agency. So, I mean, we got some real dogs, right? We got some more beef in the defensive line. So I feel like Walter Nolen, although most likely will have a he will benefit from the Arizona Cardinals using what's the word? The rotation, right? We like using rotational guys in the defensive line to obviously keep them healthy. So we will see Walter Nolen probably from the beginning of the season, but I don't think he's going to out snap Calais Campbell. I don't think he's going to out snap Dalvin Tomlinson, right? Now, maybe in the middle of the season, maybe towards the later part of the season, maybe if he actually really comes into his own and actually shows a lot of production, then maybe he can. But I do believe right now, although I do believe we're going to see a good amount of Walter Nolen in the beginning of the season, I don't think he's going to outsnap Calais Campbell. I think Calais Campbell and Dalvin Tomlinson are going to be that 1-2 punch that's probably going to give you the 65% of the snaps, 70% of the snaps, right? And then you got Walter Nolen probably going to be taking about 35, right? Maybe even 40%. You never know how Nick Rallis decides to kind of, obviously bring these guys out. So we got a lot of intriguing guys on the defensive line. And that's why I put Walter Nolen as my number 3 guy, not because I don't believe in him. I really do hope nothing but, success for him, because if he's successful, then that works for the Cardinals. Keep in mind that Calais Campbell is not with the Cardinals for a very long time. It's a bridge guy. And Dalvin Tomlinson's kind of one of the similar as well. So why not have Walter Nolen learn from one of the best, players that's done it, right? Dalvin Tomlinson as well as Calais Campbell. So I got Walter Nolen as my number 3 guy. And then I got my number 4 in Kitan Crawford, safety. Now, when you're probably looking at safety, you're probably saying to yourself, there's no way he's going to come out here when you got Buda Baker and JT back there, Jalen Thompson, right? And then you got obviously Adrian Taylor Demerson. Now, I think our safety core is going to be very special. I really do. Now, maybe Kitan Crawford's not going to be a guy that's going to be seeing very much snaps on the defensive side of the ball, but I think where his value is really going to come for the Cardinals is going to be during special teams. I think Monty has come out already said and really likes the play style and what he can bring to this Arizona Cardinal team. I think we're really going to mainly see him in the special teams more than we do on the defensive side of the ball. But you never know. Maybe when, a couple years drop by and he's really kind of making a big impact, maybe he does find some sort of role, because Jalen Thompson, maybe in a year or two, won't be with the Cardinals, right? So maybe we're looking for that next guy to fill in the role opposite side of Buda Baker. Now, as of right now, I do believe it's Adrian Taylor Demerson, most likely going to take that role if JT does get hurt or the Cardinals decide to move on in the next year or two. But you never know, man. Kitan Crawford might be the guy for the Arizona Cardinals in the future. So I think he's going to make an impact. I'm talking about Kitan Crawford on the special teams side more than anything. But if you're looking at the entirety, again, of the rookie class, you got guys like Denzel Burke, you got Hayden Connor, you got Jordan Birch. I don't know. I'm looking at this defensive line and I'm already starting to see a real big, like, I'm seeing a lot of guys that will probably take, more, I guess, snaps more than, let's say, for example, a Jordan Birch, right? Like, if you're looking at our outside linebackers, right? Obviously, Josh Sweat, you got Zaven Collins, you got B. Joe Ojolari. I know Dante Stills mainly plays not the outside linebacker, but depending on the defense, he's usually on the outside, mainly on the inside too. But like, you got guys like that. You got Baron Browning, Xavier Thomas, right? You got some guys like that might take a little bit more opportunities away from Jordan Birch. You got Hayden Connor, which is a late round pick. I'm actually a lot higher than most people are on our guard last year that we ended up drafting in Isaiah Adams out of Illinois. Now, Evan Brown, he's most likely going to be a left guard for the Cardinals. Maybe Hayden Connor can be for the future, right? Denzel Burke, we got our already really crowded cornerback core right now. So it's really just going to depend on, opportunity, and if things kind of go awry. And what I mean is the unfortunate injuries that happen during an NFL season, right? So, my biggest impactful rookies in 2025, just to kind of recap what we went through a little earlier, I do believe that the Arizona Cardinals are going to have a really good rookie class, but we're going to be starting off obviously with cornerback Will Johnson. He's going to have the biggest impact, bar none. Number two, I got Cody Simon, linebacker, just because the unknown when it comes down to that linebacking core. You got the defensive line and Walter Nolen as my number three, and then number four, Kitan Crawford. Now, yes, you can switch number two and number three. You could put Walter Nolen number two, and then Cody Simon at number three. Okay, that's fine. If that's what you like, that's completely fine. But I do believe that these are the top four rookies that are going to have the biggest impact in 2025 for the Arizona Cardinals. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let me know your overall thoughts on this rookie class and who do you think is going to have this biggest impact? Let me know in the comments below. Appreciate y'all for tuning in as always. Have a great rest of your day and go Cardinals.